Hi, I'm Carole Kaboya, and I am a Georgia actor.
Hi, I'm John Babcock. You're watching Georgia Actors. Today we have Carole Kaboya.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Thank you for being on Georgia Actors and being here and being a Georgia actor yourself. Wanted to start talking with you about your process and how you got involved in acting initially, because you were working a corporate gig, right?
Well, it started in a little village in the Congo where I was born. I always like to tell people that my story started there because it has influenced everything I do up until this point. So I was born in the Congo, came to America when I was 6 years old. So English is actually my second language. And I will use that excuse forever, no matter how long I am here. I learned to speak English actually watching American soap operas with my grandmother. So from the start, I was bitten from the bug. I'm there learning English. I'm also going, oh, I love those dramatic pauses right before they go to commercial. So I started, joining any club I could that would allow me to perform. I was in improv groups. By the time I got to college, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And so I actually wanted to go to California. And then I said, I don't want to be broke. So I stayed in Georgia. Got the Hope Scholarship, went to the University of Georgia. I always knew that I wanted to do film and TV, but I started out doing theater. I was part of a professional theater company there in Athens, Georgia. And then this little show called The Walking Dead showed up in Atlanta. And suddenly, I had this voice in my head that went, now you could go to LA because that's what you've always dreamed of, or you could stay here and see what happens. And that's what I did.
So when you talked about struggling initially when you started to be a full-time working actor, what got you through those 2 years?
What they don't tell you when you go into acting is that you're going to have multiple jobs, because getting to go to set every day, while is wonderful, isn't always a reality. So right after college, I did that thing where I go, I need a real job, because, Atlanta was still kind of growing as far as this industry goes, right? And so I got this office job that I hated with all of my heart because there was nothing creative about it. The greatest thing that happened was that they downsized the company and let me go. I had two thoughts. Oh, thank God. I don't have to come into this office every day now. And my second thought was, oh, I just bought a new car. What am I gonna do? I decided, one, no matter what I do, it needs to be in storytelling. That's where my heart is. Whether it's acting, writing, whatever it is, I wanted to be part of making art and telling stories. And the second thing was, I kind of need to be in control of my own finances, because I don't like getting let go. Mind you, the company downsized. It wasn't my fault. Didn't like that feeling. So I decided I was going to be my own boss. And so I asked myself, well, what can I do while I'm trying to audition and make it, I started taking headshots because I knew a lot of actors. So I would say, hey, anyone need some affordable headshots? I can do it. Thing about me is everything I do turns into a full-blown business. So next thing I knew, I was doing headshots and weddings and maternity shoots and family shoots. And so that turned into basically a source of income so I could still fund my dreams. I worked at the High Museum of Arts because it's still part of, art and telling stories. I started teaching at the Alliance. And so from the outside, if you're an actor thinking, oh, well, she's, she didn't get to live her dream because she wasn't on set every day. Well, in these little jobs, I started making connections and talking to people. Next thing I know, someone's like, hey, I think Carole would be great for this one part, and I'm auditioning for that part. Through these connections, I made a web series. An agent saw one of their talent there and said, who's this other lady there? And she said, oh yeah, that's the woman who created this web series. That's how I got signed with an agency. It was tough because I was watching a lot of people as Atlanta, grows, find their success, until I realized, oh, I need to find my own definition of success. What does that mean for me? What I learned is yes, being on set, acting. It's also teaching, coaching, sharing the knowledge that I have. And then I ended up actually working in casting. And so I do that as well. And so I was able to kind of see what actors don't always get to see when they're auditioning, when they're, going out for those hopes and dreams. And I've taken that knowledge and gone, hey, actors, let me help you out. Let me tell you how to, not stress out over that audition, how to help you out with that one role, or let you know kind of how producers and directors think and how that can help you as an actor. So yeah, that's how I got through that struggle. I just kept working and not sleeping.
That's overrated, right? Sleeping?
Of course.
Yeah, who needs that? As you got into acting and then your other interests that you did, was there someone who inspired you?
Does Beyonce count? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, the Queen Bee, sure.
Honestly, women like Tina Fey, Mindy Kaling, those women who were not waiting for someone to write their stories really inspired me, because not only were they getting to act in the stories and the roles that they wanted to, but they were the ones making the final decisions. They were the ones employing their friends to come and be on set with them and help tell these stories. And I think those two in particular, I've definitely kind of modeled my career after accidentally. I think I just gravitated towards the same path that they did, because I think we all had, as women, and especially as a woman of color, that moment where you go, you know, I'm tired of someone telling me what box I belong to. I think I'm gonna start writing for myself. And so I think that's what led me to do everything beyond just, you know, being an actor who is kind of waiting. And that's not to say every actor has to have a million jobs, because sometimes I do wake up and go, oh, Carole, why so many hats, right? I just knew that for myself and the types of stories that I wanted to tell, I had to take a little bit more control over my own career.
In college now, did you gravitate more towards theater or on camera?
I always say I was tricked into falling in love with theater. Ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to work in film and TV. Like I said, growing up watching soap operas with my grandma, there was something about being able to watch a story that I had never experienced, or a scenario I'd never experienced, and still be connected to it. And I wanted to do that for others. And so theater kind of was at first a means to an end, and then you realize how wonderful it is. And I think sometimes really necessary as an actor to get some of those foundations, and I can't seem to escape it. I think I still gravitate more towards film and TV, simply because it does allow me the flexibility to work with different people on different projects and tell different stories. It's really hard for me to say I prefer one over the other, because ultimately I love storytelling, and that's, if I can tell a story, that's what I'm going to focus on.
So tell me about your web series, Bethany.
This all started because I wanted to create a demo reel. Now, back in college, I started writing monologues because I got tired of searching for the perfect monologue for auditions. And then I learned that if I write the monologues, I can kind of fit them to the characters I'm auditioning for, so that the directors had no choice but to see me in those roles. So I would purposely tailor my monologues to the roles that I wanted. So that's how I started getting into writing. And so as I was starting out and trying to, get an agent and get my name out there, I realized I don't have any sort of portfolio to show my acting skills, because everything I have done has been on stage. So I started writing scenes. And then there was just this one scene and this one character that I couldn't let go. And the character's name was Bethany. I couldn't let go of this one scene. And so I said to my best friend, I said, hey, what if we just did a web series? And she looked at me and goes, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know. I'll just write a couple of episodes and let's just see what happens. And as I've said and also alluded to, I don't know how to do things on a small scale. So this one scene for a demo reel turned into 3 seasons of a web series. And that's where I learned how to be a better writer, how to be an editor, how to be a director, a producer. And I've been able to kind of take all of those skills that I learned creating my own web series into my teaching, into pretty much every job I do now, because I basically didn't wait for someone to put me in their show. I created my own.
Where was the last place you saw her?
Well, we were playing a friendly game of bridge in the dining hall. Yahtzee! Suck it, Blanche!
That's not how bridge works.
Well, that's how Blanche taught it to me.
Again, her name is Vera, and the poor woman has old-timers.
Oh my God, I just realized something.
That there's no such thing as old-timers?
No, this is a flashback within a flashback. It's a flashception.
Sweet baby Buddha.
So going into it, you didn't have any experience in writing a web series or any of that, but to have the courage then to go forward was very brave.
I don't know if it was courage or patience, but yes. There was this wonderful moment one time when I was on set, and I just kind of stopped And I realized that the greatest lesson in creating this web series was getting people who knew better than me. I expanded beyond just my 2 or 3 friends who wanted to kind of help me out and was like, hey, you're good at running camera. Can you come help me? You understand sound. Can you come help me? Instead of the first season, which I highly recommend you kind of ignore. Watch it backwards. Go from the 3rd season to the last so you can see how much we improved. But it was that moment when I stood on set and I watched all these wonderful people doing what they love and being good at it, and I realized, I don't have to know everything. I already do too much. Delegating and finding those wonderful, talented people is where it's at, really. And I think that's why I've been so invested in educating and helping out people here in Atlanta, because the talent is here. And honestly, I don't want to go anywhere else for right now. So I think that was the moment that I realized, wow, we've got something special here in this city.
Yeah, because you mentioned Walking Dead, them shooting in here. Was that really then the moment, actually, when seeing productions of that caliber coming to Georgia to shoot it, that you were like, I don't think I need to go to New York or LA?
It was The Walking Dead. I didn't book it, and that's fine. I have no resentment, because that's just how it is in this business. Mm-hmm. The Walking Dead was actually my first audition that I ever did. It was right out of college, and I didn't book it. And understanding how casting works now, I would have never booked it. I understand it now. I'm like, wait, that character. I was 23 years old, and this was a character who had like 15 years of experience in engineering. I'm not booking that role, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was the moment that I went, oh, I think I'm gonna stick around here. And plus I was paying attention to the tax cuts that were coming, and it just made sense that Atlanta was gonna be what it is today. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely, when The Walking Dead came, I went, okay, yeah, just gonna stick around.
With your acting career, do you feel you need to plan it more or let things kind of happen spontaneously?
I am very much a planner.
Okay.
Who understands that you need to be flexible. I was just talking to a friend about improv and how improv just scared me so badly until I decided I'm gonna do it, because I needed to have a plan, I need to have the script, I need to know my blocking and everything. And I think that the freedom and flexibility go, hey, we work in an industry that's unpredictable. You kind of have to go with the flow. It's nice to have direction. And, so I very much have a plan for what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. But I also have an understanding that, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. So it's a little bit of both.
Have you found, or have you seen, being a Georgia actor, that it's really expanded from smaller roles on shows that are shooting here and maybe crew to expanding more to being a creative voice?
I think so. I think that if we can continue to support each other in the way that, not necessarily has been seen in this industry, I think that for the most part, we've been taught it's really hard, it's competitive, and you gotta fight your way to the top. And what I love about Atlanta is we're going, hey, what if we just helped each other out, right? What if, I have an acting school, the Carole Kaboya company, but I have a resource page that has other acting schools and other coaches, because I feel like if we can invest in the talent, now we're doing guest star recurring roles. If we're doing investing on our writers, now we have original series here. I think it's all about kind of supporting and raising each other so that we can go beyond what we were allowed to do as far as an industry here in Atlanta. The talent is there. It's just a matter of showing everyone that expansion and showing everyone that we can get it done here.
Have you noticed any change in the attitude? Because a lot of actors that come out from LA or New York are like, if you'd be serious about it, you'd be in LA or New York. But have you seen that change?
I think that mentality has changed even within the past 2 years, right? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I think that's when the last of, if you're serious, you should go to LA idea was strong. I think it's gotten weaker as we go, because the truth is we are showing that we can do it here. So the numbers don't lie. So it's very hard to make that argument today that like, oh, if you want to make it, you have to be in LA. Well, that's not necessarily true. And we've already proven that. So I think now when I get to set, it's very supportive. It's very, we all understand that this is a very serious thing that we're doing here, not just like, hey, I'm gonna do this as a hobby because I think it's kind of cool. And I see that in the number of people who like request me for coaching and my other coaches, the number of people who are taking their headshots more seriously. So all these actor paths that maybe were more familiar in LA, we're seeing it now in Atlanta. And because we here are taking it more seriously, so is the outside world, because they're watching us step up our game when it comes to all aspects of this industry.
And Carole, what advice do you give to working actors in Georgia?
You have to remember why you're doing it. Remember why you enjoy doing it. I think sometimes we spend too much time on the really wanting to book or really wanting to, whatever we define as success, and that gets in the way of enjoying what we're doing. And if you're not enjoying it, you're not fully committed. You're not fully committed, you're not being authentic, and then you're not telling a story. You're just saying lines off a piece of paper. Because I've watched people in audition room audition, and I want to just say, just wink at me if you're in danger. If someone forced you to do this, just give me a little wink, because sometimes they don't want. It doesn't seem like they want to be there, right? But I understand, it's nerves. It's you're putting all your hopes and dreams into this one moment. And so the second thing I tell people is, do not work for the industry, make the industry work for you. You're still human. You still have a life outside of this. Even if you're taking this very seriously, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself. And the third thing I say is love yourself. Because the moment that you can accept that who you are is wonderful, you have a sense of confidence that is unmatched. And confidence for an actor is a superpower. We need that. We are already very sensitive souls. And so the confidence in ourselves to know that we're doing what we're meant to do goes so far. So those are the three things I tend to harp on when I'm coaching.
When was the moment that you realized, yeah, I can do this?
It was the first time that I was in a production meeting for the Vampire Diaries. That was the first show that I was brought on to help with casting. And I remember sitting there with the showrunner and the producers and all these people who I, had put on a pedestal, like, oh, they're so above me. And we were all literally in the same room together. And I'm listening to everyone, problem solve for the next episode. And me going, I am part of helping to solve those problems. That is my job. I'm already doing it. I can do this. Because one thing I discovered is that, one, we're all important in this process. Whether you're an actor, a grip, whoever you are important into the storytelling process in this industry. So we're all equals. And then secondly, we're all learning constantly. Art is evolving. The technology we use to capture art is evolving. So everyone is constantly learning, and I think that just knowing that I don't have to know everything, because one, I'm in a room full of people who, if I don't know something, someone else is gonna know it, and I'm probably gonna learn from them, and what I'll learn is let them do it. They're better at it, that's fine, right? It was in that moment that I was like, oh, I can do this, because I am doing it, I'm here, cool.
Any final thoughts about being a Georgia actor?
I think that as a community, as long as we operate like a community, we're going to be better than fine. I think that longevity comes when we're not fighting each other and understanding that, like, when I succeed, you succeed. And that's one of the reasons why I love this industry here is that Southern charm isn't allowing us to, rip each other apart. And I love that. And I love that we're recognizing that we can do this better for everyone in every way. And so I'm really excited about the opportunities that's going to allow for, different groups that you may have not seen in film and TV because different stories are being shared. So I think as long as we continue to work as a community that's supporting each other, we're going to be great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good.
I will tell you about the worst audition I've ever had because I was young and I thought I could do anything. So I put on a resume, I could cry on cue. So I went to go audition for a big agency. I was really excited because it was really hard to get into that agency. And there were other actors in the room there. So I was like, that's cool. They give me the side. It was a commercial for Del Taco. And I was like, boom, nailed it. I'm like, I'm gonna get signed. This is happening. And then the agent goes, oh, I see you can cry on cue. Can you do the same thing and this time cry? And I could not. Oh, I could not. I failed so hard in front of them and all these actors. You know when I did cry? When I got in my car. I cried so hard.
What was the response when you couldn't cry on cue?
They just kind of looked at me kindly and said, okay. And now that I work in casting, I understand that, okay. I know exactly what that means.